Good morning, everybody. I'm here with the amazing Psychic Liz Cross.
Hello, everyone. Now, for this video, by law, we have to tell you that this is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, not health advice or anything like that. We're just having some fun today, looking at all the stuff that's going on around autism, which is, it's scary. Looking at the numbers out there in the United States today, it's 1 in 35 kids will be diagnosed with autism, and in some areas, it's actually much worse. In areas like Orange County, I believe it's like 1 in 10 or something like that, or close to that. It's insane. So something is clearly happening because it was, 1 in 10,000, 50 years ago, or something like that. So there's definitely something in the environment that's causing this. And, in the news, actually, I don't know if you know this, but RFK Jr. is supposed to release his report on what he thinks are some of the causes for autism this month. He's said that September will be the month where he releases his report. And if you don't know, RFK Jr. is a lawyer, and he has taken to court many of the large companies, pharmaceutical companies, tech companies, companies that are polluting, and he's represented people and suing these companies that have had damage to their bodies because of whatever the company was doing. So he's got a lot of information that he's reviewing, and he's going to come out with his report. So we have a few things that we think he's going to release in the report, and we can probe him. We're going to probe him in the second part of this video. So this is going to be a two-part video, one for our members. You have to go to Patreon/remote viewing and beyond to see all of our content. It's only a few dollars a month to support us. We do appreciate that. And I also have a tip jar too. If you like the videos that I do, it's in the comment section below. If you want to throw a few dollars or whatever you got in there, it's much appreciated. Thank you for everybody that does support. Um, we're going to bring in my resident health expert, Mei Wen Ho.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to bring in, I guess we're going to mind probe RFK Jr., because he's the one that's doing this research right now.
Okay.
Might not get to him too much until the second part, but let's see what's going on here. One thing that we've heard that might be in the report is there's been studies done on folic acid use given to pregnant mothers or prenatal, I guess, vitamins. So there seems to be a link possibly between folic acid. So what folic acid is an artificial vitamin, vitamin B9 actually, that has been given to mothers, expected mothers, to prevent neural tube defects. But it is an artificial vitamin. It's not the same one that exists in nature, which is folinic acid, which exists in like leafy greens and different foods that exist in nature. So there might be a link between folic acid being given. Um, and so if we can ask Mei Wen Ho, is there any link to autism directly or indirectly by giving
Mm.
folic acid, the synthetic version, to pregnant mothers?
The synthetic version of folic acid. Is there any link to autism? I'm getting a no.
Okay, interesting. And then I could
We
also,
we
yeah.
can rule that one out. Sorry.
Okay, what about for young children? There's a lot of folic acid that's in artificial foods as well. Is that something that is contributing to the symptoms of autism at all?
Is
Folic
that something
acid?
that's contributing to the symptoms of autism? No.
Interesting. Okay. Is there any reason why the studies seem to show a link to this? Is it just that there is there any let's put it this way, is there any negative effects to synthetic folic acid in the diet of humans or pregnant mothers?
Are there any negative effects to the diet of synthetic folic? I mean, the processed food is more of a problem than the synthetic folic acid, is
Okay.
what she's saying. But
Gotcha.
just taking synthetic folic acid, no, it actually is more beneficial for pregnant mothers than negative.
So there's also some people that are expressing what's called an MFT. HR mutation, and they're susceptible to taking folic acid because their bodies can't break it down. Um, so pregnant mothers that do have this mutation, or are expressing that mutation, is there any risk to them taking the folic acid, the synthetic folic?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, because if the mother cannot process this, then ultimately it goes to the baby to process. Now
right.
that becomes system overload.
Okay. And is there any linkage in that case to autism?
Is there any linkage in that? Yes.
Okay, so we got to be very specific in like what, you know what I mean? The questions that we ask sometimes we're not going to get the answer necessarily. Okay, so that is something I think that they're showing is that the mothers that are expressing this gene mutation. Um, okay, so that, and I think this is going to be multi. There's not going to be one thing that is linked to
Hmm.
autism. It's going to be multi things. So we're going to go through a few of them, maybe some of them that maybe people didn't think about. Um, okay, so how about this? If the mothers were instead given folate, which is the natural version of vitamin B9, would that solve this issue?
It wouldn't solve the issue necessarily. No.
But is it beneficial?
Well, yes, I'm getting it is a lot more beneficial than just synthetic folic acid. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And the best way to ingest folate is by eating it.
Right. Yeah, eating it in terms of like a natural, like eating your leafy greens or the
Mm.
foods that have it in it instead of it being kind of taken out and on its own. The body's just gonna absorb that better, right? Um,
Yes, but I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. For those of us that have extreme morning sickness, I mean, you can't even hold or eat anything, let alone anything leafy and green. So, you know, the taking the folate or the folic acid is much better.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
because you're just not able to eat the amount of nutrients. So let's ask this question. For people suffering with extreme morning sickness, which is actually like all day sickness for me, would it be, do they need to take vitamins? I mean, she's saying yes, they need to take vitamins. Now that is an issue. That is something that they're not pushing. But is it that they need to take vitamins like, because obviously there's good vitamins and there's bad vitamins. So the she's saying, Maywin Ho saying that the closest you can get to natural, all natural vitamins, the better.
Right. It'll be more
Because
bioavailable.
oftentimes when you're pregnant, you're eating dry crackers and dry toast, right?
Mhm.
And you're taking very small bites. I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying for those of us that suffer with major morning sickness.
Mhm.
Um, and the way to combat morning sickness is to eat those things frequently.
Mhm.
So is that a contributing factor to autism? Is morning sickness a contributing factor? Ooh. So morning sickness is a natural protection against taking in toxins into the body.
Mhm.
It's minimizing the toxin load.
That's very interesting. I like that idea actually. Um,
Mm.
and so that it's kind of like the body's giving you a signal in a way that if you're experiencing heavy morning sickness, it's a defense mechanism against what it may be perceiving in the environment. Is that correct?
Is it a defense Yes, absolutely 100% correct. It's basically protecting from the environmental toxic load that is
Right.
in the food.
That makes a lot of sense to me. That's just, how nature works, right? It's intelligent. Okay, interesting. All right, the next one that's been in the news is that Tylenol may be a factor being linked to increased risk in autism. So there is a paper from Harvard that showed that 80% spike in autism risk when Tylenol was administered to pregnant women. And the way that it's supposed to, the mechanism for that is that Tylenol actually downregulates glutathione, which is a part of your detoxification system with the mitochondria. So if you're lowering just like in the other case, when you're lowering the ability for the mom to detox, then it passes on to the baby quite easily, and the baby doesn't have a way to detox it. So that's how they think it may be affecting. At least in the study, they showed there was an 80% spike. So, can we ask Mei Wen Ho, first of all, is Tylenol in pregnant mothers, is that causing a negative effect?
Very negative effect, okay?
Hmm.
Uh, I'm just like, I don't understand why anybody would take Tylenol. Or any drugs when they're pregnant. I don't get it. Why would they take Tylenol? Really, it was for headaches and things like that. And
Mhm.
so, do they need to take a lot of Tylenol? No. Even one Tylenol can create um a potential autism risk.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, we're told that it's safe though. That's the issue, right? And
You
so
know what? When I was pregnant, I didn't believe any of that rubbish.
good for you.
Yeah, okay, they'll tell you it's safe, but I went on my instincts and my natural instincts alone. Like, I did not take an aspirin, I did not take anything. If I had a headache, I went to bed. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
would not take one thing, not
Yeah.
one drug, no alcohol, no, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very smart of you. Absolutely. So, so curiously, I've seen the research on Tylenol, at least synthetic Tylenol, like not the actual like aspirin
Mm.
tree and all that's different. But I've seen that it does downregulate mitochondrial function and glutathione, which is really important in your body. So for the even for like a regular person, I think there's probably issues there using Tylenol. Is it also the same? Like one Tylenol, is that also a negative effect on the body?
So, so even if you're not pregnant,
Yeah, like if you're, that's what I'm asking if you're not pregnant.
sorry, if is it, no, it's not the same.
Okay,
But
interesting.
obviously, too much Tylenol, what I am getting, it damages the liver
Mm,
and you become too reliant upon it. It's almost like you can become addicted to Tylenol. Now,
oh
I've
yeah.
never heard of that, but that's what Mei Wen Ho is saying. She's saying, yeah, there are people that are addicted to Tylenol.
Yeah, I believe it, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right. So let's see here.
So let's ask this question. So if they're like taking a lot of Tylenol prior to pregnancy, but they're not taking Tylenol in pregnancy or during pregnancy, the baby is still at risk because all of this stuff is still floating around the body. It's almost like you can't get rid of Tylenol altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, if it's destroying your liver and your glutathione, then that's the actual thing that would filter this stuff out and detox it. So it makes sense. It's destroying
Mm.
the thing that would allow it to get rid of it. Um, okay. Another thing is autism linked to a lack of vitamin D during pregnancy. So we all know that we get vitamin D from the sun. And unfortunately, in our modern world, we don't get outside like we used to. We're 80% less sunlight than we got, than 100 years ago. So let's ask Mei Wen Ho about the link between vitamin D deficiency in pregnant women and autism and ADHD. Is there a link?
I'm getting a no.
Interesting.
Now, you have to look at this as an extreme.
Hmm.
If the mother is not getting any exposure to sunlight, then yes,
Ah,
that is a significant risk for autism. But
Mhm.
if they're getting some exposure, you know, not saying that they're sitting out in the sun, but some people, I don't know how, sorry, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but there's some people that never raise their curtains or their blind. They never open their curtains, never raise their blinds, like
Or
their
their
houses
windows,
are, mm,
or open their windows.
or open their windows, their houses are dark.
Yeah.
Um, the lighting on the inside, that's not sufficient, she says.
Hmm.
As long
Listen.
as you are getting some exposure to the light, you're opening your blinds and curtains, then you should be okay. But especially those that live in the dark or those that work night shift. Now,
Yes.
interestingly enough, when I was pregnant, I was working some night shifts. I'd have to do night shifts every week. But thankfully, one of the rights as a pregnant female is you come off night shift because it just makes you so sick. Like you can't even function. Or
Right.
certainly I couldn't. So
Yeah.
let's ask May Wen Ho this question. Did that benefit me? Yeah, see, she said that. Great. There was a great benefit there by not, um, you know, being up all night and sleeping all during the day. So let's ask this question as well. Does that mean that you're in its circadian rhythm? Is that right, Mr.
Correct.
Photon?
Mhm.
Does your circadian rhythm have something to do with all? Now, see, yes,
Yep.
yes. Okay, your rhythm is also a contributing factor to a significant autism risk. So if you're keeping normal hours,
Hmm.
it's like you're intaking the nutrients, you're into, you know what I mean? It's like you're
It,
functioning when we're supposed to be functioning. I mean, it's not normal working nights. It really
no.
isn't. And actually, people that work night shift on a regular basis, they've studied night shift workers, they actually have premature deaths
Mhm.
as opposed to people that are non-night shift workers. I mean, of course, there's a lot of factors and variables involved, but what is it about the circadian rhythm that is so important? It's about again, she's saying it's about absorbing the nutrients from the sun. If you are not getting nutrients from the sun, you are now putting your baby at risk of autism.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And if you think about it, like honestly, in our modern world today in 2025, most people are not going outside and they're told to avoid the sun completely, wear sunglasses, cover up, put on sunscreen all the time, and that's going to block it. And if you didn't know, your windows in your house block out the beneficial frequencies of the sun. So they're blocking all the UV spectrum. They're also blocking part of the infrared spectrum, which is the balancing healing force in nature. So you really need to open up your windows and really get outside for some period of time and get your skin exposed to get all these nutrients from the sun. Um, so on the other side of things, there's also artificial light exposure. And if you didn't know, the modern light bulbs that we have today don't have infrared light in them anymore. If you remember when we were all kids, you could go up to the light and you could feel the heat coming off the bulbs. That's not the
Yeah.
case anymore. They've stripped out
Oh.
the nutrients out of the light, if you will, and now we have blue light exposure from these lights that are they're really just high blue of the range of light that it's blue and green basically is really what they're optimizing for. And it's been shown in many, many, many studies on circadian health that these modern lights that we have are having a negative effect on our health. So there have been some studies on pregnant women being exposed to these high blue light exposure of these modern lights, and they have shown links to increased risk of gestational diabetes, preterm birth, disrupted sleep patterns for the baby after it's born, and eye and vision issues as well. I don't think that there's any links that people have shown necessarily between autism yet, but I'd like to ask about this because it just hasn't been studied enough. It's so new. Um, so can we ask Mei Wen Ho, So how about the modern artificial light that we're exposed to in hospitals, at home, everywhere? For pregnant mothers, is there some risk for a link to autism there with exposure, high exposure?
That's your link to autism and high exposure. Very high exposure, meaning that's the only light you're exposed to? Yes.
And I mean, we are kind of exposed to it all the time now. I mean, we live in a world where the lights never shut off, right?
Mm.
You go outside and you can't even see the stars anymore, right? So it's definitely everywhere. And the amount of blue light that's in our lights now, it's pretty much just all blue light. And it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And the government is actually mandating these new lights because of they're low energy light bulbs, right? So they're
Mm.
very cheap, but they're not really taking into effect the health risks of just having this light that's just extremely blue and extremely bright in our environments. So yeah, this could be something also that's adding to the risks for babies in general.
Oh.
Interestingly enough, though, what I was reading too is that for most of the pregnancy, you don't have a big bump, baby bump, right? It's only at the end of the pregnancy. And that during that time, the skin is stretched so that
Mm.
more light is actually entering through to the baby at that time when the skin is really stretched. And in nature, apparently, that could serve a purpose, right? To get more healthy light in at that time. But it's also in the modern world leaving the fetus exposed to the artificial lights at that time. So if we can ask Mei and Ho, at that time when the belly is really stretched out, are they at more risk being under this blue light exposure?
Are they at more risk being under this blue light exposure? No.
Okay.
Um, when when does autism really present itself in, in pregnancy? Is it like the first trimester? Yes. It's really the by the second and third trimester, autism is already present.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's the first trimester.
All right. Interesting. Okay.
Now,
Hmm.
I did not know that.
Okay.
Oh, certainly, and it doesn't necessarily mean that your baby is going to be autistic. It means that, if they are severely autistic, then yes, that is in the first trimester. If they are prone to autism, they may not necessarily develop autism once they are born, depending upon the external environment. But what
Right.
I'm getting is that certainly the foundations are laid down in the first 3 months.
Right. So the foundations can make you more susceptible to things in the environment later on to express the autism. So either you have it already in first trimester or you're more susceptible to getting it from an environmental whatever later on.
Okay, I got a question. Sorry. What if we all are autistic and it's just lying dormant within the body? Let's
Depends
ask
on
that
the
question.
definition of autism, I guess.
Is autism present in every single one of us or the potential to become autistic? Is it just lying dormant in the body? No, that's a no. But I had to ask that, you
Sure.
know?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, I think we have to go soon, so we're gonna have to make a second part of this video for our members. So we'll make sure we have this ready for our members. So as soon as you log on, you'll be able to see this second part. But we might have to cut this video soon. The last thing I want to ask about actually
Mm.
is of the effect of electromagnetic fields on pregnant
Mm.
mothers. And first, actually, on this, it's been shown that blue light, toxic blue light, has been shown to collapse the blood-brain blood-brain barrier in the eyes. And as you know, the eyes are part of the brain, right? So is there a negative effect for pregnant mothers through the eyes in, I guess it would allow toxins to go into the brain by this blue light
Mm.
exposure.
Is there a risk of the blue light exposure going into the eyes? Oh yeah, that's where it's mostly absorbed.
Right. So so yeah, that's true. So there's studies that are showing now, there's not many, but they are there showing that for pregnant mothers it affects the hormones and different things that are going to, theoretically affect what's going on for the baby early on. So that's interesting to know. So if the mothers were to wear glasses that block those dangerous frequencies, would that solve the problem?
No,
Okay.
not necessarily.
Okay. What,
Um,
what would be the
because then you're filtering out the good light as
Yes.
well.
So what about at night? Sorry. What if they were to do that at night when the strong lights are on?
Oh, what if they were to do? No, yes, at night, absolutely. But
Right.
you want to make sure that you're getting more sunlight than the other light.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, I should have specified
Ah.
that's what I meant.
So let's ask this question. What about when we sleep at night? And if, some people do tend to sleep with the light on or lights on. Is that toxic? It's very toxic.
Yes, absolutely.
I did not know that.
So I sleep in a pitch black room. I
Oh my
like it
God.
cold, and I don't have anything plugged in, any little, lights popping off on anything. You should be, for me, I sleep when I can barely see my hand in front of my face.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, I gotta ask. So does that put us at risk for all sorts of diseases and problems? Yeah, it does. So not sleeping in a dark room. I mean,
It throws off your circadian rhythm. It's one of the main things it does, right? Because your body's clock, which is what a circadian rhythm is, it's a clock inside your body that's telling time. It tells it by light. And if you have the wrong light when it's supposed to be nighttime when you're sleeping, then your body thinks it's daytime.
mm,
And there's all kinds of
wow.
studies coming out showing different things, but that's like the main one that they found, main problem. Um,
Wow.
So, but coming back to pregnancy, the other thing that I wanted to check was not only blue light, but also radio frequency. So we all have cell phones these days and we're all keeping them on our body. But, pregnant mothers, obviously, they have the baby there and very close to where people would keep their phones, right? So the baby doesn't have the same protection as we do in terms of it's very small. It's not the brain isn't fully developed obviously at all, right? So you would think that they would be more susceptible to this radiation. So it's shown that RF frequencies in the ranges that we use, 900 to 1800 megahertz, which is actually pretty low. That's like, a cordless phone. It's not even a modern cell phone. It shows that for 20 minutes of exposure at close ranges, it's shown increased permeability in the blood-brain barrier in rats.
Mm.
So are things like cell phones for pregnant mothers, being close to in proximity to where the baby is that a serious risk for babies in utero?
Is that a serious risk for babies in utero? Particularly within the first 3 months. Yes, it can interfere with the growth of the baby.
Okay. Is there any
Wow.
link to autism or the development or the
To autism with development. It's more developmental. What about a link to autism? It can be a contributing factor.
right?
Yes, but it would be one in many factors. So if you were taking Tylenol, you have your phone on your stomach, or nearby,
Mm.
you're not being exposed to light properly. Now, those three together, that is a triple whammy. So this is what she's saying is this is all probability as well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's not like, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 4 necessarily or whatever, five. But it depends on all these different factors, right? Everybody's genetics, everybody's environment is different. So a different combination for a different person could affect them differently. But they're all stressors on the body. It's just
Mhm.
how does the stress express itself in terms of a symptom or a malady, right? At the end of the day, it's different. And that's why it's really hard for science to really nail down a cause for anything because we are in a soup of all these different things. And it's hard to get a control group because everybody has a cell phone, right? Like
Oh God.
how many pregnant mothers don't use a cell phone? Probably very few.
Uh, None that I know.
Right, right. So it's how do you find the control group? I mean, that might be a little bit easier, right? And all of them are in, Wi-Fi, have Wi-Fi routers in their house. We're all in this electromagnetic radiation. So now it's like impossible to get a control group, of someone that doesn't do it and someone that does do it. It's like impossible,
Mm,
right? So it's very hard to study this stuff. There are studies that have been done that are negative, but yeah, it's just not known, right? The average person does not know this. So. And I like this is the kind of stuff, like just a plug for me. This is the all this stuff is now confirming all the things that I already know and that I teach in my education for health and wellness. Like these are the things that people don't know about that are having an effect. So we're looking at the most serious effects here because we're talking about pregnant women, right? They're the most vulnerable to all this stuff. So
mm.
it's very important to be aware of this stuff. So. Okay. I think we're gonna cut part one. Part two, we've got more to cover. We're gonna probe Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK, because he's studying all this stuff. We're gonna see what he's thinking and if he's gonna release it, if he's not gonna release it, if there's people trying to stop him from releasing it. Is it true? Is it not true? All that stuff. So I think that's gonna be pretty interesting to get into his brain and see what's going on there.
Yeah. Oh gosh, because like you and I discussed and how this came about and what is going to happen in the second part is we this came out yesterday, so I have to give Mr. Photon credit where credit is due. He has put this together in a very small amount of time using mostly his own knowledge off the top of his head. Okay, so well done to you, Mr. Photon, seriously. And how this video came about was because yesterday the UK released headlines in the papers. The governments are saying we can't afford to pay all these disability benefits to all these autistic kids, right? So, going out in part two, we're looking at RFK, what he's up against in Congress, in the government. Is he being successful at pushing through his policies? Is he being stopped? Okay, we want to find out because they're not talking about it, right? We're not hearing what exactly is going on. But for me, and I'm sure for most of you listening and you, Mr. Photon, we're not seeing a lot of results here. Oh, okay, they may ban a dye. Okay, big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
feel
know
the
what I
same.
mean? Like, well, how about and to give Europe credit where credit is due, particularly the UK, and well, a lot of parts in Europe, there's so many things that we have here in the USA that are that's just not allowed in the UK and in Europe, like GMO, right?
Yeah.
Lots of dyes, lots of additives, lots of preservatives
They'll
that
ship
are
it to the
not
United
allowed.
States because you can still sell it there, right? They can't sell it in Europe. Well, let's bring it to the United States where we can sell it. So,
Right, right. And they keep the bad publicity out. Okay, so I want to ask RFK all those questions. Do you find that you're up against like lobbying groups? What is going on? You're not seemingly as effective as we all, everybody was like, oh, okay, finally somebody's going to do something about the processed food. And I don't care which side of the political aisle you're on. This is something that affects every one of us. GMO, organic, pesticides, all of this stuff. And so we're going to do that in the second video, as well as looking out into the future, because I'm sure all of you out there know someone that has an autistic child or somebody who's autistic in a family, right? And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, those people, they need 24/7 care, right? So what does that mean economically? It means that somebody's got to stay home. And depending upon the severity, you may be receiving disability benefits to stay home and look after your child because it's much cheaper for you to do that for the government than it is for the government to have to provide all of this structure and activities for them and care, right? So, but going forward, where this articles or many articles that came out yesterday, which is, hey, we can't afford this, right? We can't afford to pay disability benefits for people that are autistic or carers that are looking after somebody that's autistic. Like this, we can't afford the numbers are getting too big and it's going to bankrupt us. So we definitely need to look at that in the future as well and to see, okay, you know, does this need, because our group is special. I have to tell you, we have the best group out there. We are preparing for the future. We're taking this information. We're trying to manifest. We're trying to build ourselves up financially, resistant to all of the inflation, all of the things that are going on, the effects of a cashless society, being checked, monitored, and traced everywhere you go. Especially with like the facial recognition CCTV cameras that are coming out en masse all over Europe or a lot of countries in Europe, right? So well, this is kind of another thing that if the statistics, excuse me, keep increasing and we keep having more and more and more people and more families with autistic children, how are we all going to pay for that?
Not
How,
only that,
how
but
are we going to deal with that?
what does society look like if it's like 1 in 5?
Yeah.
And everybody grows up. Like it changes society in a way, right? It must.
It exactly. Like, so we want to look at that. You're right. We want to look at that. Like, how does it, yeah, exactly. Are we going to go to a point where everybody has autism in the future? And what does that look like? How are we going to sustain ourselves financially? Because nobody's going to give anybody a free ride. Okay. So, I mean, we all know that. If you're educated and you have two brain cells to rub together, I'm sorry if you think, Liz, that's terrible, but it's true. You tell me which government, in the Western world gives people a free ride. Yeah, okay, I think there's one or two in the Middle East, whatever. But let's look at it realistically. Most of us are not living there, certainly those out in the audience. How are we going to plan for this in the future? How do we protect ourselves in the future, against this increase population of autism? So it's gonna be a big video, guys. And Mr. Photon, again, I just want to thank you for putting this together. Please, Mr. Photon, a little bit goes a long way. He does have a tip jar listed down below. So I can't wait to dig into part two. I don't know about you, Mr. Photon, but I'm
Yeah, I
looking
can't
forward to
either.
it.
I got everything ready to go.
He's got everything ready to go. Did
So
you
if you
all
want
hear that?
the second part of this video, you need to become a member with us. It's only a few dollars a month to support us. Go to Patreon/remote viewing and beyond. And we hope to see you on the second part of this video.
Yeah. Thank you so much.